So, ladies and gentlemen, you are about to watch a clip from Roundtable Sports. Make sure you subscribe and turn on bell notifications so you never miss a live stream. Now, this is powered by BetUS, hands down the best sportsbook on the face of the planet. For money lines, for over-unders, point spreads, player props, BetUS is where you want to be this NFL season. Now, a lot of sportsbooks come out and they try pushing these promos, but folks, BetUS hands down has the best promo on the face of the planet. They're matching 125% of your first 3 deposits all the way up to $2,000. That is right, folks. If you sign up with that link in our description, that promo is all yours. Certainly go check out BetUS and enjoy the clip. All right, guys, like we said, we want to go through and understand the weakness of each and every single team in the AFC South. Something I'm sure that these hosts are really looking forward to potentially exploiting in 2024, and what I'm sure that they're hoping other teams do as well to help their case of taking home that division title. I want to start off with the Houston Texans, all right? This team, really overall, is seeing a lot of hype for good reason. However, not every team is perfect. I'm going to start off with Derek right here. Derek, looking at the Houston Texans, what is their biggest weakness, and what do you think the rest of the NFL is going to attempt to exploit out of them in 2024?
Well, I mean, I said it a few weeks ago when talking about the best way to attack the Houston Texans, and that I'll say the same thing. It's, being able to run the football. I mean, to say whatever you want about their what they've done in the secondary, and obviously their offense is seen insane personnel changes and all for the good. And, there's not a ton of weaknesses on that side other than if you want to say maybe there's too many riches over on that side, maybe it'll get to be too much. But as far as the best weakness right now, if you want to beat the Houston Texans, you got to be able to run the football against them. And even with D'Amico Ryans coming there, they really haven't shown any real effort to stop it. They're still having a huge weakness of stopping the run. I mean, we saw a hobbled Jonathan Taylor in week 18 last year, still run for over 100 yards on them. So, hey, listen, if you're going to want to beat the Houston Texans, you got to be able to run the football. You got to be able to keep their offense off the field as much as possible. Best way to do that, being able to attack that front. And, with Indy having such a great offensive line, it definitely plays a much better part in us being able to take advantage of that. Don't know how good it is for every other team out there, but if you have a good running offense, definitely want to utilize that against the Texans if you want to beat them.
It's what you got on that, Dalton. It's the biggest weakness of the Houston Texans you're hoping to exploit.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because the Texans are pretty good at a lot of different units, but I don't know. I would probably say center. I mean, they're losing their center that kind of played most of their time last year. So it's going to be a battle between Patterson and Scruggs, whoever kind of, I'm not sure if there's a leading candidate, but, those are a couple of guys kind of like battling for that spot. But neither of them have all that much experience, even though they're going into their second years. So, I would probably say center. And, I know for myself, after seeing back center play last year from the Jaguars, I worry about everybody's center position because it's a much more important position than a lot of people think, especially if they are not used to bad center play.
That's what you got, Mike.
Well, that's easy. You're not the damn Oilers. Quit trying to be them. Nah, but seriously, I look at this team and they're pretty solid across the board. I do think, interior defensive line's a big need. I think another safety could be a big help, but I think they also have an advantage of actually trying to go out and shop for that. I mean, John Mechie right now to me seems to be expendable. He's kind of on the outside looking in to get more playing time. So why not go out and try and trade him? So, food for thought, Ruben.
All right, Ruben, thoughts on the biggest weakness? Did anything these guys say feel correct? Talk to them.
Yeah, the defensive line, the interior of it. I mean, until we could stop the run, then you could go ahead and say, yes, it is a weakness for our team. The guy we did sign to help, Danico Autry, he got popped with the 6-game suspension. So, Tennessee just keeps on trying to mess with this man. Dotson brings up the center position. Right now, the leading candidate is Juice Scruggs. We found out as early as OTAs that it was going to be Juice Scruggs as the starting center. He played half the year. The last half spent the first part of it on IR with a hamstring injury. These boys are pretty, spot on. And we don't care about the Tennessee Titans. It's you guys who are just affected by every little thing they do. I see your group.
Don't make me give receipts.
Facebook
don't make me give receipts, Ruben.
Oh my God,
I will pull receipts on you.
Worry about your own team and tell that to your ugly ass owner.
I'm fine with my own. Well. I am fine with my own. Your own is always trying to steal our shit. That's what I'm getting at.
What are you trying to steal? The
You're
flag.
Like, oh no, they took
blue.
the Oilers. Boo hoo.
I'm sorry.
You don't own them.
Look. Your owner chose to wear the Oiler uniforms against us, and who beat your ass? Old man Case Keenum. That got Mike Vrabel fired. Yeah, you can't say nothing no more because it happened.
Better we got our better coach. We upgraded the offensive line, so I'm coming at you. I'm coming at you with everything, Ruben.
Tell your boy, go model for some more fucking.
You talking about last year? We talking about this year?
I don't give a damn about the Colts, bro. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't give a damn about them either.
I don't give a damn about the Colts either. So we agree on something.
You guys, you along with that horrible Titans Coliseum podcast, keep our team's name out your mouth, please.
What you talking about the Coliseum for?
I
got nothing to do with the Coliseum.
They're part of it. You guys as a whole. I'm sick of the Tennessee Titans. You guys got swept last year and have been talking the most shit.
Well, you talking last year. You talking last year.
God,
we talking now. We talking now. What you coming with me at now? You coming with me at now?
With Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon, Danielle Hunter, they're going to be
you dropping names. You dropping names like you a phone book. You out here dropping names like a phone book. I don't care. Meet me on the field.
You don't care about 16.5 sacks? Ooh, he is going to fuck up your rookie left tackle
with what?
all day.
With what? You coming at the sacks? With what? Danico Autry's missing 6 games. I think we're good.
So Danielle Hunter didn't get 16.5. Will Anderson Jr. wasn't defensive rookie of the year. You did not have one of the worst offensive lines in history last year. Your quarterback is going to get murdered. He won't have blood coming out of him. He'll be freaking Mayo.
Tread carefully, my friend. The sophomore slump is real.
Hey, you know what's
great? What about your quarterback who is in his sophomore year?
Hey, you know what's great?
One of them's got to shine, baby. One of them's got to shine.
This is
one of them's got to shine.
Crickets.
This is a great segue. The Titans' weaknesses, Ruben. The Titans' weaknesses, Ruben. Go ahead. Talk to me about what you're hoping to see the Titans.
They had one of the worst offensive lines last year. They didn't even get their guy in the draft, right? And they think that they're going to do something. You say you don't, you have Danico Autry, like you don't care about that. Danielle Hunter, bro, is 16.5. You had the rookie defensive player of the year in Will Anderson Jr. We took your linebacker, Azeez Al-Shaair. Dude, it is over. We're going to sweep you. It's not even going to be a question. It's a pain that we have to play you towards the end of the year, end of the season, because those games are just going to be us trying to fight for seeding, and you guys are just going to be playing for seeding, man, in terms of where you guys are going to be selecting in the draft. Your O-line is horrible, and that's going to be the reason why your offense sucks.
You see, I thought you were going to come with me with something, shocking and just like debilitating. I'm still waiting, Ruben. You letting me down here. Bring the heat, man. We are on a show. These people want to be entertained. Give me something.
I swear.
What do you got? Bring it.
Worry about. I swear.
What are you coming with? You got nothing.
Of the division. I'm not worried about the bottom.
Yeah, and I'm looking up at you, and I'm coming, son. I'm killing for blood and fury.
I'm looking down at last place. Don't talk to me from the bottom.
You better believe. You better believe. I'm throwing up high, and I'm gonna knock you down off that pedestal. You best believe it. You best believe it,
dude. Okay. Mike with a performance. I loved it, dude. Surprises every single day. The Garf is saying Ruben finally spitting about them Titans. And then Colts for the Super Bowl. LIX is saying Colts are going to sweep the AFC least
Oh God.
in
Oh,
2021.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
And so even
Damn.
the host is catching strays on this episode, folks. Look at that. Look at that. Dalton, talk to me about the Tennessee Titans' biggest weakness that you see from that roster team.
I don't know. I don't want to say anything. Michael might yell at me. But
He's so confident about being fourth place. I love it.
But I don't know. Like their offensive line, of course, was very bad last year. They upgraded J.C. Latham will play left tackle. Well, it definitely leaves the right tackle spot in a pretty bad spot, I think. But you can't fix everything in 1 year. They're pretty good, I think, at the skill positions. But I would probably be pretty concerned at right tackle because they have the Cole Petit Frere. I don't know if he's going to be able to really hold down that spot.
And so what about you, Derek?
I mean, a couple different things pop up to me. Obviously they already mentioned the offensive line. For the secondary, it definitely is. The secondary is a whole brand new secondary. Yes, it's full of veterans, and yes, it's full of guys that have definitely proved something in this league, at least for the most part. I do wonder if, having a completely different overhaul of the secondary is actually going to be something that's going to actually make them as efficient as they should be. But the number one thing I will say for weakness, until proven otherwise, is Will Levis. Still, your quarterback is still your biggest issue. Again, 8 touchdowns last year, 9 games. I will repeat it a million times over if I have to. Your quarterback did in limited time did not look as good as mine. I don't care what anybody else says up here. Will Levis still has the most to prove yet when it comes to showing his consistent skills and being able to lead the offense. And I'm telling you right now, I don't think it will happen. I don't want it to happen. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't think Will Levis will be a true strength to this team, even with the overhauls that they've done.
Mike, so a lot was said. What's the biggest weakness for the Tennessee Titans?
What's the biggest weakness? It's easy. All this hate. That's all the weakness is. You coming at me with all this salt, but I'm going to tell you what, I'm bringing a beef that you can put that salt on. This team is going to be dynamic. They will find their footing, and they will get to the Super Bowl and win that MFR. So, in the words of Chappelle, kiss the ring, bitch.
Man.
Kiss the ring. Wow.
Listen, just because your boy Rossi is in the chat saying 20-0 in a Super Bowl, don't mean you got to be doing that too, all right? You gotta be realistic here, Michael.
Hey, you wanted to smoke. I just threw the tire on it.
Michael, you got the 9% of Titans fans in here all hyped up right now.
Damn right, the 9%'s hyped up.
Hey,
Make it a 10, baby. Make it a 10.
Bring the
hey, listen,
mail.
Titans fans in the chat, sound off, man. Right now, the poll: Jaguars fans 38%, Texans 33%, Colts 19%, and the Titans 9%. If you haven't voted in the poll, folks, let us know. We want to know what teams are being represented. And also smash that like button for us, guys. I do know that there's more poll votes than like buttons smashed. 96. Let's get this up to 150. I think that we can. As we move on.
Smash of your life.
Yes, very easy smash. I promise you that. Let's move on to the Indianapolis Colts. All right. Biggest weakness, and I already see Derek smiling because he knows what's coming. Dalton, give me the biggest weakness of the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably say cornerback for them, just because, I mean, last year, you kind of know what they were trying to get. They wanted to get some edge rusher help. They wanted to get some wide receiver help, which it's going to leave a position unit kind of open there. And the thing that, wasn't able to be addressed in the best way possible is probably the cornerback spot. So I do think, especially in an AFC South that has the amount of good wide receiver units as in here. Like I wouldn't say there's a bad wide receiver group inside of the AFC South. So I do think that, the quickest way to go to the playoffs is to beat the teams in your division. But with the way it stacks up right now, like I don't think that the cornerback group, especially paired with Gus Bradley's scheme, paired with a bargain bid Ballard not wanting to pay up to get a L'Jarius Sneed. I do think that unit is pretty weak right now.
Mike, thoughts?
Man, I really don't need to be burning this kind of energy, but well, just weakness wise, wide receiver room, you're hoping that they're going to be able to step up and handle business. As I said, I feel I'm pretty high on Brian Thomas, but I do think, even with Kirk there, you're still kind of looking for a guy at the third position to potentially get them over the hump. So, right there, I think there's one instance you have to look at. And I think, you definitely have to try and think cornerback wise that they need a little help on the secondary, but.
Got it. And I'll tell you what, Titans fans in the chat have spoken. All right. Our friend Leon came in and he said, Titans don't have bandwagon fans like these other 3 fake teams.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
Gotta be a good team to get bandwagons, right?
Yeah, you don't need, your team don't need bandwagoners. That's the point. You guys are just all are miserable together in your own little
The bandwagon is open, baby. Come on aboard, guys. We're going to
the miserable.
Hey, listen, it's that 9%. It's that 9% really letting their voice be heard, baby. We love you, Tennessee Titans fans. Thank you so much. And then Wargasm says Titans are the biggest weakness in the AFC South. Wow. Wargasm, he's coming in. Titans continuously are catching strays. Titans fans, I just recommend to tell your friends to come for a little bit more backup. I think that's what we need to discuss real fast. And then one other super chat just came in from the Garf. Typically, wagons go somewhere, buddy.
this Jaguar one's going to the Super Bowl, baby.
At 5. Oh, my God. All right, Ruben, talk to us.
Not for $5, I don't.
Biggest weakness of the Indianapolis Colts. Talk to us.
Derek's gonna expect me to say his quarterback, but I've ragged on him too much. Let's talk about that secondary, because Nico Collins last year was the Colts killer. 146 yards and a touchdown week 2, 195 and a touchdown in that week 18 matchup. Now in that week 18 matchup, it was only Nico Collins. There was no Tank Dell, there was no Robert Woods. He did it by himself. And the secondary is very young for the Colts. There is some upside there. But when I look at what I have week 1 coming in with Tank Dell fully healthy with the Stephon Diggs, I'm going to attack that secondary as much as I can. And that right now is the weakness, I think, one of the biggest ones for the Indianapolis Colts besides their non-existent QB.
Derek, thoughts on the Colts' biggest weakness? Did anybody mention anything that was exactly on your mind?
I can applaud the UCF for mentioning the cornerback room. I'll be completely honest. I think that it has more to do with the safety room than the actual cornerback room. So I applaud you, Ruben, for mentioning the entire secondary in general. We didn't do great against the Texans last year, stopping the pass. And, this year, Juju, he'll probably get better. I would hope he got better. But right now he's still dealing with the freaking injury factor, man. And it kills me. But the only thing is, you have one really great piece at both spots. You have Kenny Moore, who's one of the best, probably the best slot corner in the NFL still. And Julian Blackmon, who just had a perennial all-pro season at safety. But the problem is you're entrusting your faith upon a 7th round cornerback from last year that you drafted, who, by the way, he's not looked absolutely terrible. At best, he's an average cornerback at best. And then, of course, at the safety position, at free safety, I don't know who the hell is going to step up. And even if I think I know who's going to be the starter, but I have virtually no confidence in them to be able to get it done. So, Dalton said it right. Bargain bin Ballard, just taking the chance on the secondary, just being able to, form it all together and hope that they gel the way that you hope. But even though there's been all these safeties and some of these corners that could really help this team going forward, I'm definitely shocked and upset that we didn't do more to it. I'm just hoping that the defensive line picks up the slack a little bit this year, because if they don't, then yeah, teams are going to pass the ball a lot on the Indianapolis Colts this year.
Oh man, and then last but not least, we need to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, the biggest weakness of this team, we all know, as someone eloquently pointed it out in the chat, if Dalton was still butthurt that they missed the playoffs last year. I feel like the rest of the panel has some takes on this. And I'm just going to stick with Derek here. Derek, talk to me about the Jacksonville Jaguars. What concerns you about them from an objective standpoint?
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard to really talk about weaknesses, because for the Jaguars specifically, because as a Colts fan myself, at least over the last few years, I don't see many of those weaknesses when I play them. You know, it kind of sucks, because I don't want to admit that here while I'm on this podcast, but at the same time, you know, I'm going to say it right now. I don't see a lot of the weaknesses when the Colts play the Jags, because, you know, for some reason we just never seem to figure it out. But I do wonder how Trevor Lawrence is going to respond to losing Calvin Ridley. I know that they brought in Brian Thomas Jr. and all these other things. But you did lose your number one touchdown guy, your number one target. I know Christian Kirk can probably fill that role, but it definitely leaves me with a few question marks as to whether or not that could leave a lasting impact on the season and Trevor Lawrence's overall efficiency. So probably the best that I got when it comes to that. I mean, I don't really know a lot more other weaknesses they have right now.
So what you got on that, Ruben?
Yeah, I think the O-line for the Jaguars will probably be, considered a weakness for them. The left guard position, the center position, to be exact. I think Dalton mentioned it earlier. And here's the thing, like when you have a quarterback who just got paid and you want to protect them. And I know that I had two quarterbacks be sacked as many times. I think David Carr and Watson were on the top 10 of all-time sack lists. They need to protect their quarterback. And I think that, in the upcoming seasons, the Jacksonville Jaguars will do it. But I think right now their O-line will be considered a weakness.
What you got, Mike?
I mean, interior offensive line, I think something they're going to have to touch on, potentially if there's some releases to try and just fill a few holes in the middle. But, also I think, cornerbacks definitely something they'll have to try and address too, or at least try and just see if they can just push forward through it.
And so do you agree with any of those takes, Dalton?
Yeah, I mean, any answer that's not the offensive line is just flat out wrong. I mean, we're worried about the offensive line. And I know a lot of people, it's easy to say like, oh, they lost Calvin Ridley. That's a big thing. And, while Calvin Ridley, led the team in receiving yards and everything, he made just as many, honestly, bad plays as good plays. I mean, there were so many plays out there that just really hurt the Jaguars in the butt. But, we move on from that. But now the offensive line is something that we're all really worried about, because we actually feel good about the receiving core and a running back room. But, man, we saw last year how much a bad offensive line impacted us. I mean, not a lot of teams can do a lot when they can't run the ball. And we're worried because we only made one rule upgrade of the offensive line. So right now, we're all kind of freaking out. I'll be honest with you. If there's anything that's going to hold the Jaguars back in 2024, it is that offensive line. And we'll just have to see once the season begins how they play. But right now, we're all a little bit worried.
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sportsbook and casino.